Hello and welcome
Hi.
to the daily video news.
We're back after a long hiatus.
Yes, yes, and there's a bunch of news, including a new class called Ron. She uses this weapon right there.
And she runs very far away.
Yep. Run. This is the same class.
I was just gonna ask if Ryman wanted to sing I run so far away.
I'm gonna run far away now from you guys.
Okay, keep going.
I'm thankful you got that.
This is the same class they very slightly teased many months ago with the silhouette image, if you guys remember.
Oh yeah.
And the silhouette image actually ended up being pretty accurate. Like, she has a sword, she looks like she's Chinese, and she has this weird weapon on a rope thing.
To go swish with.
I have another video here with the Korean people talking Korean. I don't understand a single thing. I think this is a trailer made for TV, and it's kind of silly. But if I go very late in the video, there's a little bit of footage of the new character. In a few seconds, maybe, potentially, kind of.
And
there we
gameplay.
go.
Oh.
She can jump in the air.
She looks very, very high up in the air, yeah.
Yeah.
Swish.
She's very spinny. She uses her rope weapon a lot. So I guess she's more like a medium range character.
Much pink.
And yeah, what Akamete mentioned, where was that again? Just before this. Oh, here we go.
Is she leaping off of a cliff?
That is what I'm wondering. Like, is she doing that, or can she just go crazy far up in the air? Either way, she definitely has some kind of move which like propels her in the air. She's very.
Yeah, it does look really cool.
She's very acrobatic. It reminds me of old Chinese kung fu movies where they like to have actors jump between trees and whatnot.
I've just thought it actually reminds me of something else. Like there's something you played very recently.
Oh yeah, I guess DMC Dante can like fly and grab
the air dash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. He also Stryker was also from Devil May Cry too. The Eric's weapon. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Haha.
But yeah, she looks like she could be interesting.
I wanted to see what the rope weapon looked like in action, and this looks pretty interesting.
Very swish.
I feel like the weapon looks kind of dangerous, like to herself. Like she has to make sure that never hits her, like because like it looks heavy and owie.
It's a good way to get a haircut.
So this makes the 16th class being added to the game.
Oh, I don't even want to know. I am bad at counting.
Yeah, because Mystic is 15.
Yeah. We have 14 right now. Mystic will be 15.
And I guess we can briefly say that Pelibis, maybe a little bit silly, maybe a little bit biased. Like this is yet another female class they're introducing.
Don't get me started.
Can we talk about this guy?
Oh, is he the next class going to be added? This guy?
Maybe. I mean, look at his glasses.
Oh, he had to leave. Oh, never mind. Maybe he won't be the next
A businessman who uses his telephone as his weapon.
There isn't really anything else known about the class right now. There's this translation which says that you can create a character right now in Korea, but I logged in and I could not see her anywhere, so I don't think that's true.
She ran away.
But I think usually with Pelibis's class announcements, they tend to release a class very, very soon after revealing the class. So I will expect her to be playable in Korea very, very, very soon.
What has the gap been like lately for Stryker and Mystic? Between Korea and the English client? Oh,
it's really weird. I mean, Stryker, he was announced and then the English release was just a month later, if I recall. But the Mystic was a long wait. That was a wait of like 5 months something. So it seems to vary greatly.
So it's hard to say how close this one would be to our version.
We don't have Mystic yet, so I expect this wait to be pretty long. They did announce Mystic for our version, right? When it'll be announced, right? Did they?
Yes, pre-creation for Mystic starts this Wednesday, December 6th, and then the full release is December 13th of this year.
Okay. So we'll get Mystic very, very soon at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's more news. Gigabytes. They have showcased that they've optimized the size of the client. They managed to reduce it from 51 to 27 gigs.
Yeah, see, look how small it is.
I don't know how they did it, but I did confirm that I looked at the client. The current client is only 27 gigs. It's true. It's tiny now. Well, not tiny, just smaller.
I'm really curious how they managed to do that. That is almost half the game.
Yeah, I wonder like whether there's just a lot of needless files around. Was a lot of files which weren't really compressed. I don't know, but either way, it's so much smaller now, which is a good change. And they also briefly mentioned that they're working on fixing bugs in general, which I hope they do because I really do feel like there's quite a lot of minor annoying bugs in the game scattered here and there.
Yeah, they do pile up over time.
I wonder if a part of this optimization effort has anything to do with the fact that they're working on an Xbox One version of this game.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would make sense for that version to have to be really aggressive, making it as small as possible and make it run as well as possible. And they showcased a new minimap they're working on, which is some kind of weird 3D representation of the world rather than a 2D image.
That reminds me of Magic Carpet.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a good thing that they're actually like going back to like basic stuff which has existed since the launch of the game and rethinking them. But I don't think I like the look of this new minimap. It looks weird.
Yeah.
It looks like it would be hard to read.
It's hard to tell from the information we have how useful this will actually be.
Yeah,
Especially
like
this right here.
I think I remember I think I heard them say that this is meant to give like a better idea of elevation, which it's a 3D map.
Well, that's true at least.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem that necessary. Like the old mini map seemed perfectly functional.
Yeah, I would assume this is optional at least.
I'd hope so.
Though I do like that it looks a lot cleaner, like moving all this stuff into one more compact place.
And speaking of which, another thing they're showing here at the same time is something they call Action Mode UI, which is a thing you can turn on where the game will just show as little information as possible, which is relevant for combat, to give you a very clean UI. And that I like. That I think looks very, very neat and clean and nice.
I feel like that's something we talked about. Like really wanting. I feel like we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Wish this was a thing.
I think we've definitely seen this part of the UI before, like when they were showing off the Xbox One build at Gamescom. Like we saw footage with this UI.
I can remember that.
That wasn't actually an Xbox One; it was just a PC with an Xbox controller.
Let's zoom in here to like tell the detail of this new UI. Wow, interesting.
I can confirm that character is level 6.
Yes. And they announced this new region place with spiky mountains.
Ooh.
Looks like it'd be hard to traverse.
They very slightly briefly talked about this earlier this year, and the region is called Dragon.
I'm still going to go with Dregan.
Dragon.
Spelled Dreegan.
Dragon.
Yeah, I got that spelling from what Sextus was saying.
Yeah, me too. So
Okay.
They didn't say too much about this region. They say that it'll require a new form of party play, and you'll be able to kill dragons.
Wait, you said require a new form of party play?
Yeah.
Like just to be in the region or to do anything in the region?
That's what this text says. That said, like this is a translation of a presentation that, so that like some of this could be wrong. But that's what it says. Yeah.
Well, if we take that at first glance, it might mean that it's a high-level area that's like the Giffen Razia temple that's in Kama Sylvia Part 2.
Oh yeah. Because if you look at the map with the mob level information, I guess sometimes it just says party recommended.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're talking about. But wait, you said like a new kind of. Can you say it again?
Dragon.
No. About the party. You said like some kind of new party?
The text says, Dragon will be a region that requires a new form of party play. That's the wording.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That seems like something entirely different.
This looks like some kind of palace thingy thing. Maybe.
I'd say temple.
Temple, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I like the spiky rocks. Like we don't have any kind of a environment like that so far.
Yeah.
No, Sectus.
What?
You mentioned dragons.
Dragons. Dragons.
Yes.
Dragons!
Dragon!
What?
Run!
No, it's kind of cold. I want to stay here.
I
Okay.
just want to point out this design on the wings. It reminds me of a couple of creatures from Monster Hunter, the Rathlos and the Raytheon specifically.
I don't know what you said. You said words.
Oh, you'll know soon.
Dragon.
Do you guys remember what they said about this region earlier this year? I can remember they talked about a region which was the home place of dwarves and giants. Would this be it?
I think I heard them talking about Dregan in that respect, yeah.
It could be. That makes sense with other fantasy worlds. Like all that matching up.
Okay. But yeah, and one last thing. They said that this region and this dragon will be available in Korea early next year.
Well, that's not too long because it's December.
Yeah,
It makes
that is
sense.
true.
It makes sense, though, because Korea's had access to Kama Sylvia way longer than we have.
Yeah, that was released. Well, part 1 was released in Korea basically 1 year ago. Pretty long
Yeah,
time ago.
almost. It was like February, wasn't it?
It was late December last year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So wait, this dragon is going to be something you can fight, or
Yeah, you can kill it. Mordor.
cool?
Yes, a fightable dragon that isn't Nuver.
Let me give you a demonstration.
Oh, God,
Hold
no.
on. Give me a second here. I am. Okay.
Oh, let me try.
Go
Now
on.
I just need Gregori's voice.
Boing. It didn't work as planned. My head hurts now.
Wait, I can do it. I win.
Okay. Okay, on to other news.
Indeed.
They talk more about the graphical overhaul thing they're doing, aka adding Yebis to the game.
At last.
Yeah.
They said that this is about 60 to 70% complete so far, and it'll make the whole game look all new. And they have some examples.
Wow, that's blinding.
Yeah, and
Yep.
you can say.
Not a fan of the depth of field, if I'm honest. The blue. Thank God I have sunglasses on.
I don't like how this looks.
No, it's way too bloomy.
Yeah,
Excess bloom reminds me of the PS2 era because all PS2 games had bloom.
yeah. They had, I think it was the Xbox One trailer, which looked like it was using Yebis, but that looked fine. But this just seems very, very overdone.
It certainly
Maybe
does.
maybe these are exaggerated a little bit just for screenshot's sake.
Hopefully.
Companies do
It
love
did-
to exaggerate.
I thought it looked beautiful on Xbox One / PC that they showed it off on.
And they briefly mentioned that this won't really affect system requirements, and you can turn this on or off if you want to.
Good.
That's good.
Because if it's excessive bloom like this, I think I'm going to turn it off.
I think the
I
water
do-
looks fine.
Yeah, I was going to say that the water here, I think that effect really helps the light reflection or
like the-
refraction or whatever you want to call it.
Don't like the sky. The sky is very blinding.
I just got a flashback. Remember when we first played the game and you couldn't swim?
You
And I tried
walked
to-
underwater.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Because that
Yeah.
was before my time.
Ugh.
I tried to walk. Like I actually successfully walked across this river just barely without dying.
Yeah, you had like a super slow. You actually had a unique walk animation for being underwater, and it was super slow, and you died fairly quickly.
Yep.
And if I recall, weren't horses basically unaffected, and they would just happily walk underwater?
I think so. Yeah.
It was very silly and kind of amazing.
So they had a tier 9 back then, and they took it out.
Oh! Another new feature they mentioned is the character tag system, where you can, on the fly, rather quickly switch to one of your character on the spot, like
Oh wow! I had my hopes up for a second. I thought it was gonna say you could switch genders of your class on the fly.
No, this is like you have two characters on your account. You can like very easily, quickly switch between them. And I imagine this is probably for like you're grinding on a spot, you see another guy, and then you want to like switch to a higher, like more powerful character to like fight them off. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't see where else this would be really useful besides. Well, and this is super quick. I guess it's just a nice way of switching between characters.
It reminds me of fighting game style, like the tag team moves that you can do. That'd be kind of funny to see.
The only other use case I can think of is like, say you're out with your gathering character, and some git decides to flag up on you.
Oh yeah,
that might be another situation.
I guess you could utilize this for inventory management somehow, maybe. Like maybe you find something to pick up, but you lack space. Oh yeah, I'll just change character, get it with that character. I don't know.
Maybe.
And this will be added pretty soon. It'll be added to Korea next week.
Okay.
I have other stuffs to talk about. Many other stuffs. I'll just have this trailer playing while babbling a lot here. So, bubble.
Wait. Before we move on, if you go back to the beginning of that trailer, I forgot this. I mean, we haven't seen like this bamboo area, but this is Port Rat design, isn't it?
This is definitely Port Rat.
Do you think there's any chance? Have they said otherwise that they will unlock more of that region?
I think they've suggested they might do that in the long run, but they haven't said they would do that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with this area that we're seeing here is that aside from all the like the bamboo stalks, it looks a little like barren.
Yeah,
like there's not much here. I think they just filmed the trailer out of bounds behind Port Rat and then brought her into Port Rat.
This is very possible, and this is probably just to indicate that she is from this continent.
Also, butterfly.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to other things. There's some minor stuff here they talked about which isn't too important. Like they said they will be better at listing every single change in a patch note they've done with changes to the game, blah blah blah. And other stuff they talked about is they're gonna rework parts of the game to make it more rewarding and enjoyable. They briefly mentions that you can now earn money like silver by playing on Red Battlefield. I think also the latest Korean patch made it so you can earn combat XP and skill XP by doing Red Battlefield. And they mentioned they'll redo gathering, so there's more mini games involved when doing gathering, which is not as simple as, for instance, the cow milking mini game. They use Minesweeper as a possible example for how in depth mini games will be in regard to gathering.
You'll have to be gathering mines. That's what they're saying.
Yes.
You know, I am actually. That's interesting to hear because gathering becomes pretty mind numbing after 2 years.
Yeah, it is extremely simple right now. And they also mentioned training will also see some work. I don't see it mentioned here, but I heard people talk about them. They're going to add this whip you can use to like actively train your horse, and the higher your training level, the better the whip you can use. And this will, I think, make it faster to train horses and make it more likely for them to earn skills as they level up.
But I don't want.
It would. Sorry, what?
I don't want to whip my horse. I like my horses.
I'll whip your horse for you.
No, you're not allowed. No one's allowed to whip my horse.
I'm happy to hear that, because I was just thinking yesterday again when I was looking at the life skills of my my striker. I saw that training was at like beginner 7, and then I was like, should I even bother leveling that up though? Because the only perk to training skill is that your horse learns skills, like levels up skills faster.
Yeah.
There's not really any purpose to it.
Yeah.
So actually having a reason to level up that life skill would be nice.
And that's also been a lot of complaint about horse breeders in the game, that they spend a lot of time leveling horses and they get a high training skill, but the training skill doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Now, Sectus,
Well,
are they not addressing another aspect of horse breeding?
yeah, I was gonna get to that next. They also mentioned that they're gonna tweak the Tier 9 awakening system to make it so that if you fail many times in a row, the next attempt will have a higher chance. So
That's right.
Basically, they're adding the fail stack system to Tier 9 awakening, which I think is a good change, because right now the Tier 9 awakening system is very sad and demotivating and horrible and sadness. Very much sadness.
You guys could follow Sectus's adventures through failing Tier 9 Awakening.
Yeah, it's not a good system. It's a bad system. I'm glad they're looking more at it and trying to redo it a little bit.
Do you think that will work retroactively? Like, will that retroactively be applied to all the times that you failed, or is it just going to...
That is not mentioned here, but I did see someone say that they are going to do that, but I don't know what source they had when saying that.
Yeah, I would take that with a grain of salt then, until it's actually confirmed.
I hope that's the case. For instance, there's one guy in the community who's done more than 60 attempts, and all of them failed.
Oh.
Aye.
Well, you have a video that shows exactly what goes into trying to awaken a Tier 9 horse, so I think people will be able to understand. 60 attempts is not cheap or easy to swallow.
Nope, that's a lot of silver, and that's a lot of time invested. Okay, going through more news, they mentioned that they'll have a system where you can imprint your family name onto gear you enchant.
Huh?
Yeah, that sounds weird.
I think it's just some kind of weird way to make enchanting more rewarding, I guess. To make it so that you can enchant a weapon, then sell it to someone, and then each time they look at the weapon, they see my name. They remember my pain.
I'm not sure I want to put Rymante on my gear.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, that's kind of just like a little cute feature, I guess, to let people feel like they can take credit for pin helmets or whatever.
Yeah. There's also mentions they're adding new stuff in regards to sieges and guild wars. It sounds like they're adding more options, for instance, to guild battles. It could be a 20 versus 20 battle, 5 versus 5. I don't think they specify too much details about how this will actually work out. But it sounds like a more organized battle system rather than just like killing whoever. And they also mentioned they're planning a system where people who aren't part of a guild can still fight for that guild. I wonder if that also is talking about node wars, because that is something I would like to see.
Wasn't that militia system already added?
It's only for sieges. It's only for like the battles on Saturdays. It's also kind of limited. Like I think it's 100 people who can join as the militia, and it's random who gets to join. They also briefly mentioned some kind of skill customization system, allow players to change certain skill cooldowns, AoE, and graphical effects.
Yeah, well, I'm not. That sounds confusing.
It's kind of vague. They don't say much. But it sounds like just yet another way to like improve your skills, I guess. But you can customize how it's improved. One last bit of news here is that they mentioned a small Christmas gift to all players, and this sounds like it'll actually count for every version of the game, like even the English and Japanese and everything. So 21st of December, they'll be giving one maid to every player.
When I first heard
really?
this, I didn't believe it. I thought, nah, someone's pulling my leg. They wouldn't be that generous. A maid for everyone? No. But apparently it's true.
Yeah. And they've been kind of nice other times as well. There was one time, but this was only for the Korean version, though, they just randomly gave one specific casual outfit to every single player.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Can I get one for
That's
my ranger? I haven't gotten one yet.
Okay, there's more news, even more news. They have released a bunch of trailers and more information about the mobile version of Black Desert Online,
Oh, I forgot that was a thing.
which we can see right here. Now then, I don't really I'm not familiar with smartphones at all, but does this look pretty good for smartphone graphical stuffs?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
I wonder how, what kind of frame rate it'll actually run at.
This looks like a game that is designed only for high-end smartphones and tablets.
Yeah.
Because those exist. Those exist.
They mentioned that this will be self-published by Perlibis directly.
Okay.
Good.
And they say they're planning to do a global launch for 2018, so it'll be released for all territories at the same time at one point in 2018.
Do we know how this mobile game actually works mechanically?
There is a whole lot of information about it, but I didn't look that deeply into it.
Because I'm having trouble imagining the game being much fun to play with touchscreen controls.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the big downside with smartphone gaming, isn't it? So
yeah,
I guess you just have to get used to those kind of controls. But yeah, I wish I could say more meaningful stuff about this version, but I didn't read that deeply into it because, well, I'm not a smartphone gamer.
me either.
But I did find a bit about a global release being interesting because that's something I wish they had done with the PC version of the game.
So here's the only bit of UI we can see.
Well, this gives some hints as to how you play it. For instance, that's the horse button. You press that button for horse.
There's a button behind Archimedes' head.
Oh, oops.
That's the health potion button.
Oh, that looks like a horse skill of some description.
Horse attack, maybe?
And this might just be like an analog stick simulation thing.
Do they have any images showing it at not widescreen? Because I don't really see mobile phones at 16:9 very often.
I don't think so.
Actually, look at this minimap. Doesn't this look sort of similar to the new minimap that we were talking about earlier in this very podcast?
Yeah, it definitely looks very similar.
Huh. They're just implemented out of the box on this mobile.
I can remember reading bits and pieces of stuff they mentioned about the mobile version. For instance, it'll have its own enchantment system, which is supposed to be friendlier than the one they made for the PC version. One thing I'm curious about, like, since they have a good chance with this to like rethink a lot of the stuff they did with the main game originally, I wonder if they'll figure out, okay, this system works a lot better. Let's move it back to the PC version. For instance, if they like manage to find a much better enchantment system, that would be interesting.
By the way, I'm realizing you can turn your phone sideways, so forget my comment about the widescreen.
Well,
I don't play mobile games.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm even more clueless than you when it comes to smartphones. I don't even know what they are.
All right, can we go back or pause it here? Pause it when there's numbers on the screen.
Like these numbers?
Yeah, these numbers, these damage numbers.
They actually talked briefly about this in the presentation yesterday, where they said that they didn't feel like it fit the main version of the game on PC because they feel like it would just be too much information in your face while doing combat, and they feel like the impact of fighting is enough information to know that you're like actually hitting things. But for the mobile version, they felt like this is necessary to like give you proper feedback that hey, yeah, you are fighting things and you're hitting them. That's what they said anyway.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't feel like numbers are really that important. It would be nice if you could turn them on for the PC version, but I think in the long run I would turn them off anyway.
Okay.
I'm trying to imagine this trailer on a phone-sized screen instead.
You could just
and
like
how it
walk.
scales.
You could just walk really far away from your PC. Start shouting at us.
Okay, hang on. No.
Or imagine taking like, well, picture the Switch, like how games look on the TV compared to how they look in portable mode.
I don't know, on the Switch, I can't imagine that.
The Switch is a lot bigger than a phone, though.
There are tablets that are a similar size to a Switch.
Yeah.
I just want to mention one quick thing about the numbers, even though like it's not something I personally care about to see. One advantage having them would be knowing if you were missing something due to evasion. Like that is something I feel like they should eventually add to the PC version, because whenever you attack something, like the enemy reacts, you see blood, and you see that even if the move technically missed due to accuracy and evasion. Like, that is something they should actually represent in the game itself.
Yeah.
Okay, more news. Horsey!
Oh my.
In the Korean version, they added this system called premium auction. I don't think we've talked about this in previous podcasts. It's kind of an auction system for really, really rare items where Pearl Abyss themselves will occasionally list an item. It's not players listing items, and it's always super rare stuff. For instance, they had an auction for this Black Pegasus, and there's only one in the entire game. The starting bid started at 5 billion, and it eventually sold for 21 billion. And
that is a lot of silver. That is a lot of silver. That's more silver than you have.
Yes, that is a lot of silver. They also had an auction for a white Pegasus at the same time, which is a normal Pegasus, and that sold for 15 billion.
Would you pay 15 billion for Pegasus?
Yes. The awakening system is painful. It is so painful. We've had tier 9s on our server for around 2 months now, and as I said earlier, I think the system is bad.
Actually, on that topic, I've not heard about anyone getting the unicorns yet, although even though those are now in our version of the game.
I heard one mention of someone seeing a unicorn. So they do exist. It was kind of funny when they first added Pegasus to our version. The first 2 people to get the Pegasus, they kind of cheated.
Wonder what happened with that.
They were banned the next day.
Oh.
And in other news, Cuckoo Bird Pet.
What?
Oh, it looks so cute.
What? So it got like an eggshell for a hat?
Yes, amazing. and it can play dead. Wow.
Oh my god.
So talented.
Are you sure it's not actually dead?
I don't think so. I'll be very sad if it's dead.
How small is that thing?
It's kind of sad though. Like, this was added to Korea a couple of months ago, and it was added as a reward to people who've taken a long break from the game. That's the only way to get this. Like, are they telling me that I should just like stop the game for like a couple of months so I can get this pet? Is that what they're telling me? I don't understand.
Oh dear.
But I have even more news to talk about. So much news, so much stuff.
Oh boy. All the news.
I have one quick little funny thing to mention. In the Taiwanese version of the game, a GM was caught using the marketplace while the servers weren't actually up at all.
Oh boy.
And then another GM was caught playing on playing with 3 of his accounts while the servers were technically down for maintenance. They were both punished and spanked thoroughly. I just found that kind of funny that GMs are being a little bit cheatful in other versions now and then.
Tisk tisk.
And Pilabis had a presentation about financial stuff where they mentioned that there's 7.6 million registered users for the game, which I assume is across all regions. And
not as many as Battlegrounds, but a fair few people.
Yeah. And they've earned a total of $301 million. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot.
That is a decent amount of cashola.
And it's especially high compared to the amount of money they've spent creating the game, which is apparently only $1 million.
What? To make all this?
That's what they said.
Oh, hello, Wolf.
And they mentioned the Steam version has sold over 530,000 copies.
Wow.
Which is okay. Nothing compared to something like Battlegrounds. But then again, Battlegrounds is just absurd when it comes to how popular that is.
It certainly is. Oh, thanks.
They mentioned that they're working on 4 additional games right now. And 2 of them will be released around second half of 2018. This was before they said this before they announced BDO Mobile, so I assume that is one of the games they're talking about here. And they said the other 2 will be released 2019 and 2021, so that's kind of far away.
Ugh.
And all of these titles will be online titles, and they will all be using their in-house engine.
I wonder what type of games they'll be. 'Cause I'd be curious to see them make an RPG, like an offline experience.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Then again, they said all of these would be online titles, so that wouldn't be the case.
Oh, never mind.
By the way, that's a unicorn I randomly spotted in the Korean version.
Oh.
I spotted in
Pointy.
this mess. They briefly mentioned that they will be adding support for PS4 and or Switch with the engine, but they didn't specify details as to why they're doing that. And someone asked them if, when the contract with Kakao EU expires, if they would be willing to then just publish BDO in English territories themselves. And they said that is basically something they will decide once that contract expires. They say if it would benefit both parties, then they'll just renew the contract with Kakao. I think that's interesting though, because I think there would be advantages if Perlapis just eventually ended up being the publisher for every region of the game.
I'd prefer that myself too, but I don't know what goes into it.
And working with the German National Orchestra, they've been re-recording. I don't know if it's an entire soundtrack, or just large parts of it for the game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing some teaser videos of some of the remastered songs.
Yeah, I can try to link that in the description of this video. I can remember listening to some of the examples, and I was uncertain how much better the re-recorded versions are. I would be curious if they're just adding this as new optional music, or if it'll be replacing music for good in the game. And
It'd be interesting to hear the differences.
And they briefly mentioned that BDO Mobile will actually be the first version to utilize the new version of the music.
Huh, okay.
And other news about stuff they're tweaking in the game, they've made it so that the awakening skills, which used to require levels 61 and 62, now only require levels 59 and 60. So
Thank goodness.
That means there's no longer a fairly big power gap between characters level 60 and 62. And yeah, I think this is a great change, because reaching 62, an insane grind. Reaching level 60 is grind enough. 62 is just absurd.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're basically reworking 60 to be kind of a soft cap, so you don't really become much more powerful beyond 60, which I think that's a change for the better.
Yeah, I think so too.
And speaking of levels, they've recently made the XP rate around 40% faster between level, like when you're in the level range of 56 to 60, if I recall.
And as someone who hasn't hit 60 yet, I'll tell you right now, you really feel it.
Yeah, so they're basically making the game less grindy, which is, well, I think good. Another big...
I was just gonna say, I'm looking at the growth ranking right now for our server, and there's one person who's reached 62, and the next, like the number 2 person is 61.36. That's not a lot of people at 62.
Yeah, 62. Like even with the changes to XP rates, it's still really insane to reach.
And yeah, I spoke with the only level 61 person in our guild. And they said they were at 2%.
And they've been doing even more stuff with the XP rates. The XP you get via life skills, like processing and fishing and etc., has been absurdly increased. I'm willing to bet it's at the very least 100 times higher than it used to be. It is so insane. Like basically how it used to be is that the XP you got via life skills was pretty much trivial. You get like a tiny bit now and then, but now it's actually a viable way to level up.
Yeah, for example, when I hit level 59 on my warrior, I basically stopped grinding mobs because I just needed a break from grinding. I have done nothing but process ever since, and I've gone from 0 to 14% just from processing at level 59.
It is a big change.
And this is over the course of like a month.
So you guys can maybe remember they talked about a second awakening system many months ago where you could fuse 2 skills to make them more powerful.
Yeah, the Rabam skills, I remember.
And very recently they've been doing something rather different to make the old skills, like the pre-awakening skills, more powerful, and that is by just adding a new version of many of the skills, which requires more skill points and a higher level, but those new versions are basically as powerful as the awakening skills.
Yeah, I think they have the temporary name in Korea, the Jin skills, which roughly translates to the absolute skills.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they just finished releasing them for all the classes, like Dark Knight, Mystic, and Striker got theirs just recently.
Yeah, and this will basically finally mean that those old skills will be viable to use alongside the awakening skills.
That'll be nice.
Like, there has been a website that has been translating the patch notes as best they can, and all the absolute skills they look really tasty.
And quick side note, they made this patch recently in the Korean version where this is the profile page where you click P and you can see your own profile and some extra information on the same screen. I thought it was kind of neat that you see this character thumbnail there.
It looks nice.
And they're doing tweaks in regards to gear. For instance, they have been adding a lot of mid-range gear, which just are good without having to be enchanted, and they will drop in like media. I don't know if they've also added any of those to Valencia as well. And they're also a small tweak is that you can now turn green awakening weapons to ultimate, so they're closer to like blue quality in power.
I have one of those. Actually, I have a few of those in various characters. It's a nice bump.
I think it's nice to see that they're willing to tweak old systems like this to make the game less grindy and a little bit more balanced overall.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about drama?
I'm not big in it myself.
It is your favorite topic, isn't it?
All right, let's talk about it. Go on.
Okay, there's this really weird situation which ended up happening. This guy in the video community called Video Blue did a little bit of sneakery. He figured out that in one specific patch of the game, actually I think it happened twice in a row, where the developer accidentally added a bunch of like database information which wasn't supposed to be there. Like it was very quickly removed, but Blue was able to get the files before they're removed from the client. And he just uploaded the whole thing to the public. And this information it reveals so much about all just about every piece of stat in the entire game. Like the actual real gear stats, like all the hidden values, like a lot of stats related to enchanting and a ton of stuff. And,
yikes.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. It was a huge deal. He was, I think, like banned one day later after it happened because Kakao and the Pearl Abyss didn't seem too happy about the fact that he leaked all of that. But it did spark this absolutely gigantic protest by the community, and a lot of Korean players did the same thing, where they were basically saying to Pearl Abyss, this information should not be hidden. We want to see more stuff in the game. And
we should make it clear that this was not the only thing they were protesting about. Because at around the same time, the North American servers in particular were suffering severe lag and disconnect issues that was making the community very upset. So this, on top of that, it just made things worse.
Yeah. But protests did kind of work because Pearl Abyss have now decided to reveal all of the hidden stats related to items in the game. If you hover over items now, you will see it finally shows the exact accuracy stat for every single item, and they're working on revealing other hidden stats as well. For instance, Kutum has a really gigantic bonus against hitting monsters, and that isn't revealed until now in the game. But BW Blue, still banned.
Yeah,
it is such a weird situation.
Well, I'm all for that kind of information in game being more transparent. But
yeah,
I can definitely understand. And that's not his place. Like that wasn't something that was meant to be made available to the public.
It's just awkward overall. But I mean, like, it is good. It is finally being done. They're revealing this information. I just wish the circumstances were less hostile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it for the notes I've written down. There was a lot of stuff to go through.
I guess I should also add, like the server issues I mentioned earlier, they were eventually fixed.
Oh yeah.
Even though it didn't affect us that much, we also got a little bit of compensation for it.
Yeah.
But North America got more because they were so bad. I was hearing horror stories about like people getting like disconnected like 3 to 4 times an hour in the game.
Yeah, the North American server seemed almost unplayable for about a month. I think it lasted quite a while.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was never going to end, and that people were just going to quit playing.
Yeah, but it's a good thing they finally fixed it.
Yeah,
like I wish it was fixed faster, but at least it's fine now.
Was that something that was happening only on the North American version of the game, or was it for anybody playing from North America?
No, it was specifically the North American version.
Okay.
Which is it's weird. Like the European version seemed just fine. I felt kind of bad. Like I saw so many people complain about this. Like so many North American people complained, while I was just, it works for me on the European version. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to add right now. But a lot of news. That's basically a quick rundown of everything which has been happening, like the past 4 months since we did that last podcast.
Has it been that long?
I think the last podcast we did, was that August or July? I don't know. Been a while.
It has been a while.
I can very briefly mention, like, this is not related to Black Desert Online, but next weekend, there will be the Video Game Awards and PlayStation Experience, and maybe something interesting will be announced there.
It would be nice.
If something super interesting will be announced, I'll most likely make a podcast about it.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be there too.
Hopefully, a good game. Soul Calibur 6 should be announced one of these years. Namco! But yeah, anything else you guys want to add?
Not really. I mean, I'm happy those issues were finally worked out with the servers and with the hidden stats. And I'm also happy that NAEU finally got the complete Kama Sylvia. Just for a while, it felt like that was never going to come out. But we have it now. It's here. Grana's very pretty.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that we did get Kamazulu Part 2 last month or something.
Yeah.
I haven't even done much about it, but I'm looking forward to going through the quests and exploring the whole world and everything. Hey, that's one thing I forgot to mention. From the presentation yesterday, a bit late to mention this, but they very randomly talked about the apparently, like it was vague, but they talked about they're gonna redo the quest system in the game.
Oh right.
They're gonna add something called the storybook. And with this storybook, they say that players can make money by doing quests all day, and doing quests will be more enjoyable. But they didn't reveal any information beyond that. But either way, it's good that they're looking into reworking stuff like that, because the quest system, like most quests in the game, are not that greatly designed. They're very, very, very similar to each other.
Yeah. On that topic, in the last NAEU patch, they've temporarily turned off the quests where you escort an NPC.
Oh yeah,
to improve them. Like you can't do those quests right now.
Maybe they'll finally fix that one NPC which keeps repeating, "Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me."
I'll miss her.
Okay, I think we're now finally out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think so.
So bye forever, bye.
Bye. Haha, I'm on top of you.
No.
Oh no.
Not much longer. I win.
No.
I'm cheating.
He looks disgusted in the background.